He was not a king, nor a warrior, nor a prophet. He was a cupbearer, a servant in the palace of a foreign empire. Yet through this ordinary man, God would rebuild a broken city, restore a scattered people, and reignite a nation's faith. This is the story of Nehemiah, a man of prayer and perseverance who faced opposition, discouragement, and danger, yet never lost sight of the God who called him. The land of Judah lay in ruins. Decades earlier, Babylon had stormed Jerusalem, tearing down its walls and burning its gates. Though some exiles had returned under Zerubbabel and Ezra, the city remained vulnerable, its people disgraced, its enemies mocking. Far away in the citadel of Susa, Nehemiah served King Artaxerxes as cupbearer. Trusted with the king's life, he held a position of influence. Yet his heart was not with Persia's wealth or power. It was with his people. When his brother Hanani returned from Judah with news, Nehemiah eagerly asked about Jerusalem. The answer shattered him.
The remnant who survived the exile is in great trouble and disgrace. The wall of Jerusalem is broken down, and its gates have been burned with fire.
When Nehemiah heard this, he wept. He mourned for days, fasting and praying before the God of heaven. His prayer was not shallow or quick, but deep, broken, and humble.
O Lord, the God of heaven, the great and awesome God who keeps covenant and love, let your ear be attentive to the prayer your servant is praying. We have sinned greatly against you. Give your servant success today by granting him favor in the presence of this man.
This man was none other than the king of Persia. To appear before him sad was dangerous. To make a request could mean death. Yet Nehemiah's burden outweighed his fear. When the king noticed his downcast face and asked the reason, Nehemiah whispered a prayer and spoke boldly. May the king live forever. Why should my face not be sad when the city where my ancestors are buried lies in ruins, and its gates destroyed by fire? A pause hung in the air. Then the king asked, "What is it you want?" Nehemiah prayed again, then asked for permission to return and rebuild Jerusalem. By God's hand, the king granted his request. Letters of safe passage, resources, even royal authority. What began as a burden in prayer became a mission backed by heaven. When Nehemiah arrived in Jerusalem, he inspected the broken walls by night. Stones lay scattered, gates were charred, the city defenseless. The sight only deepened his resolve. He gathered the leaders and declared, "You see the trouble we are in. Jerusalem lies in ruins, its gates burned with fire. Come, let us rebuild the wall, and we will no longer live in disgrace." Hope stirred in weary hearts. The people replied, "Let us start rebuilding." And so they set their hands to the work. But enemies soon rose. Sanballat, Tobiah, and Geshem mocked and ridiculed them, sneering that even a fox climbing on their wall would cause it to collapse. Yet Nehemiah answered with unshakable faith,
The God of heaven will give us success. We, his servants, will rebuild.
Families repaired the wall together. Priests, merchants, goldsmiths, perfumers. Each one had a part. As gaps closed, threats increased. Enemies plotted to attack and fear spread. But Nehemiah rallied the people with courage. Don't be afraid of them. Remember the Lord who is great and awesome, and fight for your families, your sons and daughters, your wives and your homes. So they built with one hand and carried weapons with the other. Half worked, half stood guard. Trumpets were ready to sound alarm. Opposition could not break them, for their strength was the Lord's. In just 52 days, the wall of Jerusalem was rebuilt, so swift and miraculous that even the enemies knew it was by God's power. Yet Nehemiah's work was more than stone and mortar. It was about hearts. Under his leadership, Ezra the scribe read the law of God aloud. As the words filled the air, the people wept in repentance. But Nehemiah reminded them, "Do not grieve, for the joy of the Lord is your strength." The city was restored, worship renewed, and faith rekindled. Nehemiah was not the strongest nor the most powerful, but he was a man who prayed, acted, and persevered. His story reminds us that great change often begins with a burden on one heart, surrendered to God in prayer, carried out in faith, and strengthened by perseverance. And so the question remains, will you, like Nehemiah, take the brokenness around you to God? Will you rise to pray, to act, to stand firm, even when opposition is fierce? For the God who rebuilt Jerusalem's walls still restores lives, families, and nations today.
It only takes one bold step of faith to silence the enemy. Heaven waits for a remnant, fearless and steadfast, to to rise and rebel against the forces of darkness. Remember, it's not too late to rebuild.
Check out our other videos and leave a comment below. We can't wait to hear what you think. Thanks for watching.